The 2026 Chevy Equinox is more than an SUV. It's your Sunday tailgate and your parking lot snack bar. Your lucky jersey, your chairs, and your big cooler fit perfectly in your even bigger cargo space. And when it's go time, your 11.3-inch diagonal touchscreen's got the playbook, the playlist, and the tech to stay a step ahead. It's more than an SUV. It's your Equinox. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Welcome back to the Scanning Penguin Network recap show, everyone. It is the evening of April 22nd, and the Penguins just wrapped up Game 3 in Philadelphia of this first-round series. And like Games 1 and Games 2 in Pittsburgh, Game 3, another Flyers victory. And this finally, after it took about 2.5 games, but the gong show finally arrived between the Flyers and Penguins. And Snail, just jumping right into it again, I said in the last episode they had to get the first goal. They had to make Philly chase it, and they did that. Evgeny Malkin scores early on the power play, and I will say I felt good after that first goal. I felt like maybe they were starting to change things, and then WWE broke out between the two teams. Brian Russ got elbowed in the face, kicked in the shin, and every player on the ice for both teams was in the box at one point. The Flyers end up with a power play. Trevor Zegras scores, and things just fell apart from there in a 5-2 loss. And I don't really know what to say. I thought things were going well, and then suddenly the goonish play started to come out, and it fell apart. That's how I'll start this. I felt good. They held on to that lead through 20, and then it just blew up.
Yeah, they unraveled, man. It was, like you said, I felt good after that power play goal that got them on the board, and it was our first opportunity to see what this Flyers team was made of when they're coming from behind. And, Biz was saying on the broadcast, like everyone who was watching would have heard, that, the Penguins played into their hand. And it's tough hearing that, because the one thing from this team that I've harped on since before I ever even was a part of this podcast was the Penguins are soft. And they don't have that piss and vinegar. And it's a fine line between standing up for yourselves and having that piss and vinegar. And I think playing into a team where they would like to play, mucky hockey. And the Penguins aren't really built to do that. I mean, still, even with, the Manthas and the Brazos and, Malkin healthy players that do have that physical edge, it seems like it's this teeter-totter, this series, and this will haunt me for years. The Penguins aren't able to roll their four lines because of that system that they're playing. It's a Tocchet masterclass, really. The offense can't get anything going, which is the Penguins' bread and butter. And then when things get physical and chippy, every time they're in the box, a Flyers power play, who has been mid to at best this year, capitalizes and makes the Penguins pay. So you can chop it up to the players on the Flyers are doing what they need to do to capitalize on their opportunities. I think Tocchet needs a lot of credit for the way that he's coached this team this season, coming down the stretch, and really all season instilling in these players whatever system they're kind of playing and buying in. And you see it, the Flyers team coming together. The interstate rivalry, it just amplifies that even more. And the Penguins are stifled. You can tell no one knows what to do. They can't even, when they're frustrated and are barely getting the puck in past their own or past the red line, and then on top of it, the Flyers are punching guys in the head and taking liberties here and there. It's extremely frustrating to watch as a fan, but I could only imagine what they're going through, man.
Yeah, and it's frustrating. It's really frustrating for multiple reasons, not just the stupid stuff on the ice, which you try not to get drug into, but you can't not. There's always going to be pushback. but it's just everything's frustrating. It's just the entire series has been frustrating. It's been 3 games of just pure frustration. The two Stuart Skinner finally let up the softies tonight. You really couldn't afford to waste the 2 good ones he gave you in Pittsburgh. That's just how it is. And like that's not Skinner played out of his mind the first 2 games. Like you can't ask him to stop literally everything. But again, like in this situation when you're playing like this offensively, you kind of need your goalie to, but it's not fair to ask him to just repeatedly do this night in and night out. One thing that is really kind of dispiriting, and maybe it's just a rookie coach kind of thing, there's just no adjustments. It's just not like there's no – we had a little line shuffle. You brought Brazeau into the mix, but they've not even touched the defensive pairings, which has just been an absolute just mess. Just Letang Girard, it just can't happen anymore. Connor Clifton has been an abysmal train wreck in this series. And Ryan Shea and Parker Wotherspoon and Erik Karlsson finally showed up tonight. But in a playoff series, you can't have half your decor just being complete no-shows. It's not sustainable. Not against a team like Philly, who like that is their system, is to prey on those defensive lapses. And it's just everything's frustrating. It's just like tonight. It's just I wasn't even mad tonight. Like I wasn't even like I'm just like. I guess this is what it's going to be. Like, maybe they pull off something Saturday to drag it back to Pittsburgh. I don't know. It's tough to say. I mean, this team has been resilient all year. It just felt like tonight when the shit hit the fan, they just kept dumping it on. They didn't try to get out of the way. They didn't try to right their minds. Just a disaster. And, like, even when it went 3-2, Karlsson scores that goal with about half a period left. Mantha's been awful this series. Like there's no hiding it. Like he was their best goal scorer, and he just takes a mind-numbing, just the easiest penalty not to take. Like they're gonna call that 100% of the time. He threw it over the glass. The Flyers, at worst, the Flyers could kill off 2 minutes of game time. But not only do they do that, they also they get a goal. To make it 4-2, and that is kind of the nail in the coffin. The Penguins had a little momentum, but it seems like anytime the Penguins get momentum in this series, Philly just wipes it out. Whether it is just choking the life out of everything, or gooning it up, or scoring a big goal, it doesn't seem to matter what happens. Anytime the Penguins get any kind of momentum, you're feeling good. It's just gone. And the Flyers did that again tonight. And again, the Flyers aren't doing anything special. Like there's nothing super flashy about what they're doing. They just go out there, do their job, and then move on to the next one. And unfortunately, the Penguins are the ones that have to pay the price. And it just feels like they're wilting. And it's time for again. There's going to be a great season, and I'm not going to put a eulogy on this season yet until they lose that 4th game. But it just feels like I don't know. It just does not feel like at all what we watched during the regular season.
No, and I was going to ask you, Robbie, like it's coming off as stubbornness from Dan Muse. Like it's starting to feel like Sullivan, but you know, to Dan Muse's credit, who's somebody who hasn't been stubborn whatsoever, is it him thinking that there's more there for this team and he's giving them an opportunity to get momentum and right the ship? That like you said, they've been resilient all year. Is he giving them a chance to try to right the ship and make things, you know, like get back to their winning ways and rolling 4 lines in the high shot volume, the momentum, the forecheck, all those cliches that we've used all season to describe this team? Or is it him kind of pigeonholing himself like Sullivan did, where he thinks these are his best options? I'm really surprised to see Brazeau in the lineup today, but there's a little bit of a change in the roster. And, you know, Brazeau, there's something wrong with that guy. Like he's hurt is what I mean. Like Brazeau is not the moose that he was in the beginning of the year. Like he's not imposing his will as much as possible. He seems hesitant with the puck, maybe a little bit. He's not the bull in the china shop that he was earlier in the year. I'm surprised. I'd like to see Avery Hayes get back in this lineup, give him one shake before, you know, all is said and done. He seems like the type of guy that could maybe penetrate this system that the Penguins are falling victim to by the Flyers.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's all sorts of, like couch coaching like that I could, come on here and cry about that I think needs to change. But ultimately, you look at Malkin's not really an issue. Malkin's, he's not taking dumb penalties. Malkin's fine. Sid is for the first time maybe in his career, he's hurt, but he's he
doesn't look like Crosby at all. Something's not right.
He's definitely hurt. He's dealing with something. He's ineffective. He's not winning any faceoffs. Sean Couturier is just waxing the faceoff circle. Like that is he's owned it. And he's not even playing top line. Well, I think he actually is technically getting more ice time, but he's in a fourth line role. Yeah, man, the one thing they haven't touched is the D pairings, and it's easy to come on here and find a whipping boy to like kind of be frustrated at, but I'm seeing that Letang and Girard combo way too often on the ice. And I mean, Letang, there was one sequence where he's beaver tapping his tail asking for the puck from Girard, and he gives it to him, and Letang just slings a puck right up the middle of the ice, and it's turned over for a chance. It's that kind of stuff from Letang. It seems maybe like 4 times a period, 5 times a period, it's just a blatant cough up. And, we've talked about it on here. The game from Letang is gone. He's kind of just your next best option behind Carlson and Witherspoon. Is he not? Like, I mean, I'm sure Dan Muse is looking up and down his bench going, this is all I got to work with. I guess throw Letang out there.
Malkin clearly has been the best Penguins player through 3 games. I don't even think like you can really argue that much of anything. Crosby, clearly something wrong. Couturier, basically all he is at this point is a face-off guy, and he's still very good at that, obviously. And then the young kids just kind of do everything else. And it's just, like I said, just frustrating. To kind of play the same game 3 different times. But Muse just looks like a rookie coach. He's being exposed as a rookie coach. I think that is more or less kind of the story here. He's just being exposed as a rookie coach. And Tocchet hasn't had a ton of playoff success with teams, but again, a guy that's been around the block more than a few times, certainly. And he has his team playing his style of hockey. How effective that can be in the long run, we'll wait and see the next year or something like that. But you got to credit the Flyers. They're doing their job, and that just doing your job when playing against a team like the Penguins, who are just kind of letting you do it, it makes it much easier. And they're executing. Dan Vladar is playing good, but the Penguins, I mean, you got to just show some pride on Saturday. I mean, that's really all it is. You get 2 days off. That is really where it starts. You can't win 4 at once, but you can certainly win 1 and then drag it back to Pittsburgh and hope for the best there. But I don't know what changes you make at this point other than just something really like pulling a rabbit out of a hat at this point, whether it is doing something like bringing in Avery Hayes or calling up one of those guys from Wilkes-Barre or starting. But I don't think it matters who the goalie is. I'd say start Sergei Murashov, but I don't think it matters. You had Stuart Skinner playing like an elite goalie for 2 games, and you scored 1 goal in 2 games. I don't think the Murashov. I don't think the goaltending factor really does all that much. If he goes out there and lays a stinker in Game 4, what does it matter at that point?
I mean, you're asking for a goaltender to basically play 3 perfect games to get it back even here. And I mean, last time I checked, Prime Marty Brodeur is not on this roster.
No, I mean, you were basically asking. Yeah, you're basically like they scored that first goal, then they're just like, let's see if we can get away with maybe a 2-1 win or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's not.
But the Penguins don't play that.
And it does not matter who the goalie is. The defense is not nearly good enough to play that on a more consistent basis. You could have a guy like you could have any goalie go out there and maybe steal you one, but you can't win 4 games just hoping and praying that your goaltender plays out of his mind. The defense isn't good enough, whether it's Murashov or Shilovs or Skinner or whatever. But maybe they do something crazy with 2 days off here. Just get an energy guy in there. I don't know. But they got to start getting unless that player they bring up can get to a fundamental system of getting the puck in, retrieving it, and making Philadelphia work. Listen, it's not going to matter. I like the Brazeau move. I like the idea, the thinking there. You had to do something. You couldn't not, and you had you have a guy that had a good season there to slot in. You had a spot for him, but I don't know that there is an easy answer right now. I think it's just go out there Saturday and try to win one. And whether that is a 2-1 win and Skinner bails you out a bunch, or you finally find a way to just break down whatever Philly is doing and walk in there and just get a convincing win. If you guys will remember, it's been a while now, but back in 2012, they went down 3-0 to the Flyers. They came out in game 4. They put up 10. Now, that was a Jordan Staal hat trick in there. I'm not saying they're going to put up 10, but you drug it back to Pittsburgh. You won that game, and you at least got 6 out of it. So, you're in a tough spot. You're certainly not favored to win this series right now, but you just got to play with some pride on Saturday. Just shove it back in their face a little bit. Win one there and just see what happens going forward then. But, man, you just got to strap your helmet on and get out there and just give us something to cheer for.
I mean, Skinner's been a part of a team that went down 3-0 and then they made it to a game 7. Was he not a part of that?
Against a much better team than the Penguins are playing right now. No, that Edmonton team was obviously better than the Penguins are, but yeah, the point stands. Yeah, they were in the Stanley Cup final.
In a cup final in Edmonton, of all places, where, Pittsburgh is a hockey mad market, but nothing really compares to when those Canadian teams are in the playoffs. And my point being is just Skinner's been there before. I'm sure Skinner's going into that locker room probably more unfazed than I'd say 90% of the roster. He knows what he's got to do, and he's been doing his job. If they get swept, you can't point fingers at Skinner and say, look at all the soft goals he let in. I mean, he could point right back and say, look at the decor I'm working with.
Yeah.
I mean, the Penguins, their offense comes at the expense of risks from the back end. I mean, that's how they can generate some of that offense. Carlson's a risk taker. Letang, his middle name is Risk. It's just one of those things where it's like, that's just kind of how the Penguins play. But unfortunately, the Flyers are looking for those risks, and they take it. They've been really good at taking advantage of them, man. And it's going to be extremely interesting to see what team we get here on, it'll be Saturday.
Yeah, 2 days off. So, get your mind right. I mean, it works out for Pittsburgh fans because we have the NFL draft in town Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So, it gives me something to focus on. I don't have to worry about the Penguins on Friday or anything. So, it works out well for us down here. But, yeah, 2 days off is probably what you need at this point. Just get your mind right. Enjoy Philadelphia. Wear a mask so nobody knows who you are. Go get some cheesesteaks and go visit the Liberty Bell or do whatever. Go for a walk. I don't care. Just don't think about hockey. But I mean, you have veterans on you have the veteran presence. You have guys that have seen literally everything in the NHL. You can field a lineup of Evgeny Malkin, Brian Rust, Chris Letang, Sidney Crosby, Erik Karlsson, Stuart Skinner. Four of those guys have won a cup. One has been to an Eastern Conference final and almost went to a cup final, and you have a goalie who's been to 2 cup finals in a row. Nobody on Philadelphia can say that. You've seen everything. You've seen everything this league has to throw at you. Go out and do something about it. Go out and play with some pride. See if we can't drag this damn thing back to Pittsburgh and get it back home and see what we can do there.
And yeah, it's pretty simple, I guess. I
mean, I make it sound more simple than it actually is, but Like let's start on Saturday, get a win, bring it home, and then let's work from there.
Yeah, I think that we said it last pod, Robbie, and I think the point still is like relevant, but like you need to plant a seed of doubt. They need to have a game where they break out and remind these youngsters, like, you need to, like, I don't care, they don't need to score 10, but could they win a game 3-1 and just go, those kids kind of go, oh boy, I'm second guessing all my decisions I made. It's worked. Let's make them go back to the well again and try the same thing again. And the Penguins expose that. Do it 2 games in a row. Then all of a sudden, it's that third game. It's like if you can get a win and you plant that seed of doubt, you never know what you're going to get when it's a young group like the Flyers. But the Penguins need to do that. Like you said, it's the third game in a row. We've watched the same game. It's a masterclass by Philly. Like Malkin, that's a greasy little goal he got there, but there is no space out there for Chinnikov to load up wristers, 100-mile-an-hour wristers, and go bar down. There isn't room out there for Ben Kindle to work his way to the inside and roof these little 10-foot area little half clappers or wrist shots. Like there's just no room for it out there. But like you said, there's a bunch of veterans on this team. There's a bunch of big bodies. It's a bunch of really great hockey players that are just not playing up to a standard that they've been playing to all season.
Not even close. Even close. It's so weird. Like, just thinking about how the Penguins played for literally 82 games. And I don't know if I at any point this season felt like I do right now. Just complete the blown losses early in December. That sucks. It's also December. And at that point, my expectations still weren't like through the roof. Like I was like, that long way to go here. Let's see what we can get to. If we can get to like the trade deadline, like we were still a few months away from actually being like, oh, this is a serious playoff team. But now it's like, yeah, I don't know if any point, like I feel like, well, I don't even feel like I do last year because last year was just like awful. But like it's just super frustrating that we got to this position and it just looks like a team that has not played together at all this season.
Mm-hmm. No, they're very discombobulated, and that Carlson-Wotherspoon pair has been together for, it has to be like 80 games or something crazy.
Oh, yeah, they both were healthy pretty much all year. I don't know if Wotherspoon missed a game this year, but yeah, and
they look like this looks like I don't even know what I haven't seen them play like this yet this season, but it is frustrating, and we do have a rookie coach in Dan Muse who is a rookie head coach, and his, prior teams that were successful, he wasn't the one at the helm making all the decisions. But
yeah,
this is a learning curve for everybody. These youngsters, the coaching staff, like they got veteran guys back there behind him though, but this is Muse's team, and there's conversations going on. So I'd expect some, I don't want to say last-ditch effort. I think Muse is going to somewhat stick to his guns coming into the next game, but I would expect to see maybe 1 or 2 major changes.
It's gonna be really, really interesting to see what happens between now and Saturday.
Do you think it gives them a day to watch tape or something like that, where they can go and look and see how they're getting exposed here?
I mean, it's not even like it's like not like it's rocket science, I don't think either, which is even add to the frustration. Like if you just do your job, like just you've broken like systems like this before. Like this isn't like you're sitting down trying to learn a foreign language or anything like that. Like this is just hockey. Like it's not that overly complicated in my mind, because we're screaming it like just do something different. I don't know. I don't know what you say right now. Going into game 4, I just think it's you play this game, you see if you can win it, and see what happens after that. That's really all. If you can just get a seed of doubt in Philly's mind, maybe that changes things. If you can get a game 5 out of this, and
make
then
them call a timeout.
Yeah, do something like go. Just when you get that first one, just keep throwing stuff at the wall. Just try to get that second one, because man, 2-0 tonight would have felt a lot different than 1. It felt like even after 1-0, after Philly settled in, they started to push back a little bit toward the end of the first period, and it just felt like they were just letting that momentum slip away, even though the Flyers didn't score. And then after they did, it just came unglued.
Yeah, and the Penguins aren't at their best when they have games where they come unglued. They don't have a player on their team. Like I was watching that Habs Tampa Bay Lightning. I mean, the Penguins don't have a playoff Josh Anderson who can impose fear on another team and keep people, honest. They've got players that won't back down from physicality, but they don't have a commanding force that can hurt you offensively and also, put you in a stretcher as well. So it's not their game right now. They don't have they don't have that system. They don't have that personnel. They don't have, their toughest guy, I want to say, is probably like Connor Dewar. Like he's smaller and he's not like a heavy, but he's a guy that he'll fight. He doesn't play that like he's a fourth line player, penalty killer. He's not, and the Flyers too. Like you look at there's a bunch of scumbags on that roster, but like, the Hathaways, the Konechnys and whatnot, but like Sealer, but those are just role players too. And there's no heavyweights on that team that's what's frustrating too, is like the Penguins can't get sucked into playing that way. Cause it'll just be tit for tat penalties. Like we saw lots of 4-on-4, bunch of nonsense really.
Yeah. And just, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of scratching my head as much as about any other Penguins fan right now. I really don't have any kind of answer. I obviously don't have any kind of answer, but I guess we'll see how it plays out Saturday. That's all we can really do is sit back and see how things go and hope that they can find some kind of magic, even for just that one game, to get one win under their belt and just kind of roll from there. I mean, that's really. I don't really have anything else really to add on to that. It's just play your game and see if you can't just change fortunes here a little bit and get it back to Pittsburgh.
Let's just get it back to Pittsburgh. Just one more game.
Yeah.
And if not, it was like you said, it's been a great season, but no eulogy yet. The Penguins got one more game.
Yeah. We're going to, I'm not going to write anything down yet. I want to see how we play Saturday, and the series are now marching toward the midway point here. And I mean, just around the league, we'll step away from the Penguins for a little bit, but have you been, I'm assuming you've been watching other series and other games. What has stuck out to you as we kind of get through the first week of the playoffs here?
Yeah, I've been paying attention to all the series. The only one I'd say that I couldn't talk about enough would be the Colorado Kings series. I believe that one's the Colorado Avalanche are up 2-0 on the Kings, right?
Colorado to win game 2. That's been a really tight series. Actually, it's been 2-1 in both games. But LA blew a great chance to even that up at 1 apiece on I believe it was Tuesday night. Right. They led late, but gave up a tying goal in the final minutes, and then they lost in overtime. So, they're down 2-0 going home, but they really probably needed that game too, and couldn't close that one up. But it's been a unexpectedly tight series between those two teams. So who knows what can happen in LA?
Yeah, that Tampa Habs series is must watch. Just watching kind of the old guard in the Tampa Bay Lightning, kind of trying to give it another, I don't want to say one last kick at the can, but they're not any younger, and they've got a lot of veteran players on that team with a lot of miles. So watching them, and then the kind of this up and coming juggernaut to be in the Habs, really giving the Tampa Bay Lightning all they can really handle. My favorite series of them all, though, is Minnesota-Dallas. Just the kind of on. I guess I'm not from that area, so maybe it seems like it's not talked about much for me. But the fact that like the North Stars went to Dallas, and then Minnesota had to get an NHL team back at a certain point. There was no NHL in Minnesota.
Yeah,
they're both a juggernaut of a team. I'll say that, like when I hopped on here, it was 2-0 Dallas, and I just looked back at my TV. Hartman's in the box. Dallas on the power play. It's 2-2. I think both these teams feel fortunate to get one each that it's tied up, because you want to talk about stress. I mean, you go down 2 games it could go either way. If you're down 2 to Minnie or you're down 2 to Dallas, you're not feeling great, because you've got 2 goalies that can steal games. You've got mobile, efficient back ends. You've got pretty star laden rosters up front.
Yeah.
Good coaching from both sides as well. So,
yeah, that game's currently 2-2 about midway through game number 3 here. And then Anaheim is up 2-1 in game 2 against Edmonton. Anaheim, another team that let a late lead slip away in game 1 that could have really
seen that one before.
Yeah, now 3-1. Anaheim just scored to make it 3-1.
They better close, man. That was the story last time.
Yep, Anaheim better find a way to. It'd be huge for Anaheim to snag one of these games out in Edmonton. But yeah, I mean, a lot of good hockey. Tampa Bay, Montreal has been quite a series, and Boston, Buffalo. If you watch game 1 of Boston Buffalo, that building was. I mean, that is a playoff hockey building. That is how you show up for playoff hockey. And yeah, insane crowd. Buffalo needs to find a way to play the first 55 minutes of a hockey game. They're not going to. You can maybe squeak out a win or two coming back from multiple goals late in the third, but it's not a formula for stacking wins. So hopefully they have a good response in Boston. Carolina, I feel like Carolina has that series pretty. That was a big missed opportunity by Ottawa the other night too. Kind of one of those, kind of the same LA situation where you really kind of needed to find a way to steal one of those games on the road early. But that's why you play best of 7 instead of best of 3 or something like that. So, Snail, I don't really have anything else for this episode. I don't know if you have anything you want to add on.
Pens and 7.
Pens and 7. You heard it here from Snail first. Yeah, let's see what happens Saturday. Play with some pride, show up, put your best foot forward, and maybe take one of these games. And if we can get back to Pittsburgh, and you never know what happens then. Crazier things have happened. The Flyers famously erased a 3-0 lead against the Bruins team back about 15 years ago now. But, hey, weird stuff happens. Teams have erased 3-0 leads. The Flyers aren't unbeatable. We just have to find a way to win one, and we'll go from there then.
We'll go from there.
All right, everyone. So Penguins are off Thursday and Friday. Game 4, looking to extend their season, will be Saturday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time. It is the last of 3 games on Saturday, I believe. So primetime game, obviously. Let's hope that the Penguins can steal one and get it back to Pittsburgh and extend this series. But until then, for Snail, I'm Robbie. We'll talk to you guys this weekend. You have a good rest of your week, and enjoy some playoff hockey.